Hello, hello, and welcome to the next episode of Taking Flight. It's Megan Holly. Hey, everybody, and welcome. We are here, and I hope you are doing wonderful. I hope you are having just a really great day, and whatever led you to pop on and take a listen and join me here on the couch, I hope that it is treating you well. So today is one of those days where I've been doing a lot of kind of retrospective, just thinking, going back in time a little bit. And I think it's something that we all do, right? That helps us kind of understand where we've come from and where we're going and kind of really tap into who we've been throughout all these different places and spaces and versions of ourselves. I like to say that I've had, a couple different kind of spaces within my career that I've just totally, although I've always been the same person, they have kind of transformed me in different ways in my kind of personal life as well. And one of them came to mind and I thought, you know what? I think that would be something great to tap into because I feel as though, and when I get into it more, I think hopefully you'll agree with me that we all kind of come up against this in some way, shape, or form. And back when I was working before I had my own business, one of the last career sections of my life that I had before being a business owner, I had a boss who one time came to me and said, "Hey, your emails are a little too fluffy. Can we kind of tone them down?" And I remember thinking to myself, it's not cotton candy. Like, what does that even mean? My emails are too fluffy. And I mean, at the end of the day, I did know what he meant. He meant that I use a lot of words and adjectives and kind of have a flowery way of expressing myself, which, hi, if you've met me in any way, shape, or form, that is who I am. That's how I speak. It's genuinely who I am to the core. And so at the time, right, because I'm a at that time I was a super, at a high level of people pleasing. And I was kind of a perfectionist and I was such a rule follower that if you told me something wasn't right, I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to fix it. I got to do something. And it got me in this spiral of questioning, well, what should I do different? Right. And obviously in that particular example, the thing to do different was just kind of get more streamlined in my responses or my emails to people. And I sort of did. I kept myself in it, but I kind of got in my own head about it for a while, if I'm being honest. And kind of started morphing into what this person thought maybe I should do and that might be better. And that was forever ago. It feels like eons. It was probably at this point just shy of a decade. That doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is a lot of time has passed and a lot of self-growth and a lot of understanding the world and seeing it in so many different lights because of all the experiences that I have now had since and the just deep inner work that I've done. I look back to that time and I think, isn't that so interesting, right? What was it hurting that I had kind of this way of communicating, right? I could see if it was something super detrimental or I was swearing in emails and it wasn't professional, but it was just truly who I was as a person, right? And I thought to myself, now my self now is thinking, how many times do we go through our lives being told who we are, what to do, how to do it, who to talk to, how to talk to them, all these things. And we don't even realize it's happening because they're so non-monumental. They're just these little snippets of time, like a boss or somebody saying, oh, you're a little too fluffy in the way that you speak. Okay, I could have never thought about that ever again. And it would have just been a blip on the map. And it was. But for somebody like me who's always kind of delving into the depths of who I am and who I want to continue to be, it wasn't just a blip on the map. It was a moment in time that I'm reminded of often when I want to tone myself down, when I want to stop being, kind of who I am because I'm nervous of who it might offend or who it's not, rubbing the right way and all this stuff. It was monumental because it could have really kind of sloped me into, just sent me down a spiral into changing and shifting myself so often that maybe I would have been a different version of myself by now. And who's to say, right? But why I wanted to bring this up is I think it's really important for us to tap into the importance of taking stock in who we are and not being afraid to continue to be that person. Even when somebody tells you it's not their favorite or somebody says that's too much, right? How do we do this? How do we stay true to ourselves? At that same time frame, I had a parent come to me and tell me, or say something to the effect, I should say, of, are you really this cheerful or are you just putting this on for us? And I was like, another dig of my integrity of who I am, because I cared so much about the people I worked with. Somebody had to ask and question, are you just like layering and lathering it on for us? And I was like, no, this is who I am. And the person next to me might be a little bit more stern and strict and straightforward, and that's who they are. And that's okay too. Are you questioning all of it, or what are we doing? Right. And so using these examples, my hopes is that you can maybe see yourself in something similar, or you've had a conversation or been said, by somebody, something that just kind of made you go, but this is who I am. And who you are is safe and okay. And I want you to know that. And if you've had moments or conversations that people have made you feel less than, or that you're too much or too little or too whatever adjective you want to add to it, that is not a you problem, my friend. That is a them problem. A lot of times it is somebody seeing something that maybe they want a little bit more of in their life, their personality, their world, and they're questioning you because they don't understand how you have it. Maybe it's more natural to you. Maybe you've been doing a lot of work around it, right? Who knows? But to them, all they know is that they see it as a threat to who they are and what it means to them. So when we are put up against these things, we are given the kind of opportunity, let's say, to feel maybe kind of butted up against, and somebody kind of questions who you are at the core. What I have now done since kind of having this and other conversations and situations that maybe are similar, I have really been mindful of going, hey, let's talk about this, right? What makes you feel this way? What are you feeling with this? I ask those people that, and then I also kind of go into my own mind and energy and think too, am I feeling in alignment with myself? Am I shape-shifting? I really don't want to do that. I don't want to shape-shift for anybody but myself, right? If I'm learning new skills and going down a course that maybe I never imagined, which 100% is the case for a lot of us, I think. I think a lot of us find ourselves going, wow, how did I get here? This is kind of cool. Don't know how I did it, but here I am. But if we stop and ask those questions a little bit more often to others, to ourselves, we can understand it better. And we can stand in our power a lot more. When people question us, we can say, you know what? I know. Isn't that such like an interesting thing? Or I learned this skill and this way to operate in this way from this experience, or this one of my favorite teachers really inspired me in this way. Right? We can elaborate and elongate the conversations that happen around these maybe misconceptions, maybe perceptions, whatever it is. And we can expand this conversation and, again, stay true to ourselves. Because to me, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing that we do. Sometimes I worry. I do. I wouldn't be honest if I wasn't going to say that sometimes I worry that the way that I operate in the world is too much, too sparkly, too this, to that. But guess what? It is actually just me. And when I worry about it, it's more worried about what others think than being safe and okay in my own body. And I don't want that for us. I don't want that for myself, and I surely don't want that for you. And so this episode is kind of a reminder of stepping into your own voice, to your own opinions, right? To your own guiding light. Who you are at the core of your essence is the most important thing to keep intact. We can change the way we look. We can change what we do. We can change who we surround ourselves with. But the one thing we will always have is our home base and ourselves. No matter what it shapeshifts into, figuratively, literally, all of the things. Like that home base of who we are and what we stand for is so important. So who are you and what do you stand for? Do you show up in your everyday life just balls to the wall as yourself? I've talked about in the past that sometimes we have versions of ourselves that shapeshift. If we walk into a room of people we don't know versus a room of people that we're very comfortable with, like our family or our best friends, there's going to be nuances in who we are. But I'm talking at the core. Who are you? And how do you operate and present into this world? If somebody questions and tells you that you're too fluffy or too this or too that or too whatever, what does that really mean at the bottom of the barrel? What does that mean to you? Does it feel good with who you are and how you operate? Do you feel like there's room for growth? I always believe there's room for growth. But we are on this just kind of ever slightly changing, kind of shape-shifting experience. And we're always kind of grabbing new things into our existence, into our personalities, and into the way that we go about the world. And that's really, really cool. But it's really important to keep and hone in on and honor the things that are the most realistic and just authentic to ourselves. So today, I want you to take a moment to just be one with yourself. Maybe there's a couple conversations popping up in your head that have made you question the way you're perceived and how that makes people feel. But I want you to get quiet and think about how it makes you feel. I want you to do a little soul searching on how you can create the best environment for those good spaces and places within you to keep flourishing. How do you fertilize that, right? How do you keep that just growing, that essence just expanding, and your vision of yourself within it? Who does it connect with? How do we make shifts in the lives of others, in the goals that we have, because we stay so dang true to ourselves, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is moving through this life and enjoying this whole crazy wild experience on this floating rock in the sky and just doing what's best, doing what feels good. There is no answers. Everything around us is just, right? Always moving and always shaking and always just evolving. And so are we. But how do we make this experience and the way that we operate within it feel so true to ourselves? It's by saying, you know what? I am a little flowery in my conversations and the way that I write and the way that I speak words. And that feels really good to me. It makes people feel safe and comfortable. Own it, hone it, love it, expand it, play with it, see what it feels like to take on more of who you are. We literally need more of who everybody is at the best core version of themselves, right? If you're out there doing the work and doing self-development and finding new nooks and crannies of yourself, we need more of you in this world. Those are the people who are making the world a better place. Talking to you, my friend, because if you're listening to this, you want to do something to continue growing that beautiful brain and energy and just life for yourself. So how can you hone into yourself? How can you stay true to all of it and really just experience it full throttle, right? Own it like you've never owned it before. Start stepping into it in the biggest way possible. And you will find when you do that, last little thought here, you will find when you do that, that you find and collect more beautiful people that get it, that get you, that operate maybe on a similar wavelength. And it makes life so much more special. It makes experiencing even the hardest of hards that much more special because you have found kind of your safe space within yourself, and you've brought people in and resources in and experiences that just fall into line with that same exact feeling and energy. So go about the world today and this week just taking that on, owning that energy, and just having so much fun with it. I can't wait to see what it does for you and just to keep loving on who you are. I just want to cheerlead and just hype you up to know that who you are is the safest, best version. And I love it, so you should love it too. And just let the world see it, shine it bright, and let's see what we can do to raise this collective together, my friends.